gonna unmute. Hello, everyone.
Oh, I will mute.
I think that might be perfect. Thank you. I've just done that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pop-Up Painting. This is very exciting. My second one. This is lovely. I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is George. I'm going to be running sort of the session, making sure everyone's happy today. If you have questions on Facebook, sorry, not Facebook, on YouTube, I'm here to answer your questions. We also have Laura, who is our artist extraordinaire today, which is very exciting. Sorry. Aha. So we have Laura here as well. This is very exciting. Laura is actually the creator of this pop-up painting that we're going to be recreating today. So this is very exciting as well. So we have the sort of superstar with us today, which is lovely. A little bit about pop-up painting. So we started just over 7 years ago. We just celebrated our seven-year birthday anniversary, which is really lovely. We normally like to pop up in lots of different places. The whole idea of us is to be able to enable people to take art out of the classroom and into sort of social public spaces like bars, restaurants, that kind of thing. So that's a really nice thing that we can do for you guys, and make sure that you are expressing your creativity without the feeling of it being too focused or too technical, and just having lots of fun. Obviously, we can't really do that at the moment because of the situation we're in. However, we have managed to start doing some live events, which is really exciting. So we're still managing to bring painting to you from our homes to yours, which is lovely. Kind of construction of the event is similar, it's just a little bit it's a little, sorry guys, I can hear a little bit of echo, so I think I might just try and exit out of Instagram for now. The setup is basically the same, but it's just going to be a bit shorter, so it's going to be about 40 minutes in total, hopefully. And we are going to have a little break in between, so you can sort of do your foreground and then your background after that. We are going to be using, Laura's going to be using acrylic paints. However, if you don't have paints with you, you don't have to use that. You can use other materials if you wish. I've already seen some people talking on YouTube about different materials that they're using. If you've got pencils, if you've got crayons, if you've got pens, highlighters, lots of different things, that is absolutely fine. Use whatever you want. We can advise if you have questions throughout the event. I can help and ask questions. I'm sure Laura can advise on what to do with certain materials if you're using things that aren't paint. Having said that, we have just teamed up with our supplier to make a lovely kit for you guys. So if you do want to get paints delivered to your home, you can do that. You can have a look on our website, www.popuppainting.com/live, and you can find the link there to access the materials if you wanted to get a pack and have that sent to you. And you can use the same materials as our artists are using. You can feel like you're really experiencing all of the good stuff. So yay, so that's very exciting. What else do I need to say? Music. So normally we have music that accompanies the events that we run. That just means that you can get a real sense of the feel of like the theme that we're going for. So today we have our pop-up painting, very summery kind of vibe, lots of bright colors, lots of lovely sort of bold shapes. So we do have, if you have a look in the comment or the description of our YouTube channel today, you can see that there's a link to our Spotify page, and we've got like some sort of mini playlists that you might want to use. And one of them there is like Super Summer, which I would highly recommend. It's going to get you all of the lovely kind of bright, colorful, happy feels that accompany the pop art painting that we're going to be doing today. So I don't think I need to say anything more other than we would love to see some paintings or any drawings or whatever you might do. So if you want to share with us on Instagram or you know, whatever platform, please at us pop-up painting and hashtag pop-up painting live too, so we can share those with everyone too. We'd love to see what you do. Other than that, I'm going to hand over to Laura, our painting artist extraordinaire, and we will get started. And I'll be here if you need anything. I'll help ask questions throughout as well. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, I am unmuted, hopefully. Yes. Technology, not my strong point. Thank you very much, George. Ooh. I've got a very cozy setup in my house and I'm just kicking everything all over the place. So as George said, I am going to take you today through, this little painting called Rawsome. Get it, get it. This is actually one of mine. I'm very proud. I'm very excited to see what you guys come up with. So I am going to be using acrylic paint, and I've noticed that some of you are already You've already got your kits and you're going to be using those with us. That's very exciting. If you haven't, do not worry. You can use absolutely anything you've got at home. I'm going to try and change each of the steps to, sorry, multitasking, stop multitasking. I'm going to, yeah, I'm terrible for that. I am going to try and change some of the steps that you might need to change if, say, you're using crayons or pencils or watercolor paints. But if you were with us last week, you'll know they're not my forte, but I'll give it a go. Just experiment. That is my main tip for you today. So what I have got in front of me, I've got 3 brushes. Aha. So I've got to remember Instagram is over here in case you wonder what I'm doing. I've got 2 different screens. It's very exciting. So I've got a small brush. This is a teeny tiny one that we'll use for the details later on. If you don't have any of these, don't panic. You just press lighter with your big brush. I've got a medium sized brush, which is round. You'll be able to see there. Does what it says on the tin. It's a round tip brush and it's of medium size. And then last but not least, I have a large brush. This is a flat brush, you can see there. And if I bring it over to Instagram, it is a large flat brush. Ooh. This is what I'm going to use to do most of the background in, just because it's a little bit quicker. And we're going to start with the background and then move on to the details afterwards. Now, I should say, first of all, this is going to be quite quick because we're going to have to try and get this done before Instagram kicks us off. They only give us an hour and then they get a bit upset and boot you out. So if you are not keeping up with me at any point, please don't panic. These videos will be available on our Instagram story for the next 24 hours and on YouTube for the foreseeable future. So you can take it at your own pace. Don't feel like you have to be with me at every step. I'm just going to get it done as quickly as possible and then you can catch up later. All right.
Thanks, Laura. Can I just add in there as well, obviously to mention that this is live, so there might be, if for whatever reason there may be some technical difficulties, please just sort of be patient with us if anything happens. You can go over to Instagram if you're on YouTube. We're on 2 different platforms, so hopefully, if for whatever reason one fails, you can always go over to another. So please bear with that. Obviously, this is live and there may be some difficulties, but we'll try our best to make sure that everything is happy and dandy. Back to you. Sorry, Laura.
No worries. You jump in whenever you need, my dear. You might make me jump. All right. So what else I have got? Here I have got my palette and the colors. Some of you have asked what colors I'm going to use. So I have got red, blue, and yellow. And then I've got black and white as well. I'm not going to worry about black for a minute. That's going to come at the very end. But you can use just whatever colors you've got, because as you can see, it is a very colorful painting. But you might decide you're going to hang it in your front room, which is all very red and pink, and you might want to do it red and pink rather than blue. It's totally up to you. And the stripes can be whatever colors you want. You might not even want to do stripes. I don't mind. I've also got a bit of kitchen roll. It's very handy for taking any excess paint off of your brush and for drying them as well. And I have a pot of water for cleaning my brush and also mixing into my paint, because if you're using acrylic, it's really handy to mix water into your paints. It will spread further and it'll also dry quicker, which in this limited time, we definitely need. All right, so is everybody ready to start? This is very exciting. One quick look at it, just in case. Do remember that you can pop onto our website, popuppainting.com/live, I believe. And you will be able to see the original if you get lost at any point. There we go. All right, but feel free if you get stuck at any point, pop a comment wherever you are commenting, and George will be keeping an eye on those. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start with my big brush just because we want to get these things done as quickly as we can. And I'm going to swirl it around in my water. I'm going to start with yellow paint. Oh, this is very exciting. So here we go. I'm going to dip it into my yellow paint. And the first thing I'm going to do is this shape here. Now it's going to look a bit like a weird butternut squash. Trust me. If you're using acrylic, don't panic. You can paint over anything at any point. But here we go. So I'm going to start with 2 little round bits at the bottom. Mine's dribbling already. If yours dribbles, don't panic. We're going to paint over that. So we've got these 2 little round bits here. Hopefully we can all see that okay on the camera. I've got 2 little curves for his nose. And then I'm going to bring it up in a slight curve to the top. It's going to look like a butternut squash. Okay. Make that a little bit bigger. What do you think, George? Can you see that all right on the camera? Is that okay? Or should I change the color up a little bit?
That's looking perfect to me.
Fabulous. Remember, if you do get lost at any point, just let us know. So we've got these two curves at the bottom and we're bringing it up to a point so it does look like a very skinny butternut squash. Yes, we all love a butternut squash. Unless you've ever tried to cut one. I don't know if you've tried, they're really hard. Good old workout. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start with my mane now, because I want to start adding a little bit of color into my yellow. So I'm going to get a big blob of yellow. I'm going to take it. Ooh, I'm going to put a big blob of yellow over here and apparently over here. I'm just making a mess. Ooh. If your palette looks neat, are you really an artist? I don't know. And then I'm going to put a little bit of red in it because I want to make quite a light orange color. So just the tiniest bit of red. I'm going to actually put a little bit more yellow in there because it's a little bit too orangey for me. So there we go. We've mixed up a nice light orange color. Now, if you're using watercolors or pencils at this point, you might want to start mixing your pencils a little bit. You can rub a little bit of red over the top of yellow. If you haven't got an orange one, you might have an orange one. Just experiment. Or you can just do this in yellow. It won't matter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark out the outside of the face, but then I'm not going to color that a bit in for a minute. We're going to do our mane. So, ooh. I should have pointed out, Instagram, you will be backwards. But for this painting, it won't matter at all because everything we do is symmetrical. It will just mean that your lion is on the other side of your canvas. Easy peasy. So we are going to mark out, coming out of his little cheeky bits, a shape a little bit like this. Just a little curve that comes out from his cheek and it gets a little bit wider and curves over to the top like so. And all we do is do the exact same thing symmetrically on the other side. Now I'm painting at a funny angle, so mine might end up looking a bit squishy, but that's absolutely fine. So it's going to come out of his cheek, get a little bit wider and curve round. There we go. And we've got a rough face shape. It's not perfectly symmetrical, but whose face is? That does not matter. All right. What I'm also going to do while I'm here is I'm going to mark out his little ears, just because I always forget his ears, and that's sad. The two little ears that are going to poke out. Now, every time I paint this painting, he's a different size. Today, he's quite a small lion. Sometimes he's absolutely huge. So if yours disappears off the canvas, not a problem. If it's really, really small and you've got to do some big old crazy hair to fill in the space, that is also fine. Don't worry about it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start filling in our mane with this color and lots of water. Now, if you are using crayons or felt tip pens, we're going to add stripes towards the end. So what you might want to do is leave your stripes white, because we're using acrylic paint. We're going to be able to paint over the top of it, but you might not be able to do that with your colors. So you may want to leave your stripes at this point, or just go crazy and then press really hard with the pencils later. I don't know. We'll experiment. We'll have a bit of fun. You might just end up with a yellow mane or tip exit. Oh, we could use all of the sorts of things. So what I'm going to do, the first bit of the mane, wherever your face is the fattest, we're just going to bring it out and we're going to bring it down. That is the rough shape of the first bit of our mane. So from the fattest point of the curve, we're just going to bring it out and down. It's so fun. I've got 3 different screens and they're all at different times. I love technology. It's very confusing. All right. So that
you're so popular, Laura.
I know. Just terrible with technology. All right. And then every time we do one step, we're going to do a repeat of it on the other side. And this time it's going to fall off the edge of the canvas. So no problems. All right. Ta-da! So that is the first little bit of our lion here. This is all very rough at the moment. Don't panic. Nobody panic. And then I'm going to mark out The little white bit at the bottom, this is going to be his beard, which if I show you again is this little white bit here. So that's just going to be 2 little curved lines coming out from the bottom of our butternut squash. Like so, that will be his beard. Fabulous. And then what we can do for now is fill in all of this in this nice light orange color that we have. If you've got to mix up any other paints at any point, don't panic if you run out, not a problem. All of it can be a slightly different shade of orange and yellow because all of our hair is many, many different shades. Aha. As long as you tell people that's exactly what you meant to do, not a problem. Remember to spread the paint as thinly as you can because we're going quite quickly. We want it to dry as quickly as possible. So if you paint too thick with any acrylic paint, it will take forever to dry. Mix a little bit of water in there as well.
That is always a good tip. I think we say it so many times in our events that water is your best friend. And it sounds a bit odd, but the wetter and the looser your paint, the quicker it will dry. So the wetter it is, the faster it will dry. So keep that in mind if you want to do like quick paintings. That is always a good tip that we use. Exactly.
It does sound a little bit backwards, doesn't it? But it makes sense. It makes sense, I promise. There is method in the madness. So we're filling this bit in. And remember, if you're using felt tip pens, you may want to leave your stripes white so that you can colour them in later.
I think this is also a good time to add in that obviously you're using yellows and oranges to start, Laura, but if anyone wants to use other colours, they want to go a bit wild, this is sort of all about you expressing your own creativity, so please go wild. We love it. As Annie said, I think on the event we did on Tuesday, she loves it when people go a bit rogue because it means that you're having a lot of fun and being very expressive, so don't feel like you have to stick to everything.
I love that you kept saying wild, lion. But
well, there you go, I thought about that all day.
I'm just going to have a little sip of my wine just to make sure everyone is up to speed on that one. Have you all got your wine in one hand, paintbrush in the other, or cup of tea? I'm not one to judge. It is only 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
But we do say the more you drink, the better it looks. So we do encourage you to take that on board if you feel like you want to this time of the day.
Mantra for life. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is just roughly mark out the next bit of my mane. So we've got some curvy triangles, as I like to call them. Some little blobby bits. So this time it's going to come just under our ear over here. I'm going to do a curve with a few little triangles, and I need to take my own advice and mix a bit of water into my paint so that it will actually flow. So it's going out from the head, just joining the bottom of the ear, and 3 little triangles like so. Yeah. And as always with everything in this painting, we've done it on one side. So we're going to do the exact same thing symmetrically on the other side. But good fun. It's just a bit of a curve that falls off the edge of the canvas. Magic. Remember, if you do get lost at any point, hop a little comment in the comments. George will, oh, I've got the hiccups. That one sip of wine. George will let you know if you can.
Please give us some comments if you're feeling like you're stuck or if you want any advice. I think, Laura, you gave some good advice on people using different materials already. But yes, I am here. Please utilize me if you need to ask any questions. I can try and help. Or just give us a thumbs up to tell us you're happy and you're following along nicely.
Fabulous. Yeah, I'm going to fill this in as I go. Each shape, I'm just going to fill it in with this slightly orangey yellow. Remember to leave those stripes white. If you do want to have stripes and you're using material you can't paint over, you can just leave as many stripes as you like in each section. It will just flow in the same direction as whatever curved line you're drawing. But you might want to go crazy and do something completely different, like you might want to make a tartan mane. Ooh, we like that. Or you might want to do polka dots. Or you might just want a sort of realistic but pop-arty lion. That is totally up to you. What you might want to do is, if you've got the exact same colour, when you're colouring in each section, is leave a tiny little white line so that you can see where your sections separate, because we're going to outline it all in black. But if you don't leave that line, don't panic. But I'm just leaving a very thin white line that I'm going to fill in black later on. I'm just cheating now to help myself a little bit later. Fabulous. Okay, hopefully everyone is all right. I'm going to do the next section of the mane. And this time, it's exactly what we've done here, but upside down. Oh, yes. So the curves went in this direction. The curves are now going upwards instead. Ah. And we're going to do as many upward curves as it takes to fall off the top of the canvas. I did 3 in the original, but as you can see, my line is a little bit smaller today. So it's going to come out from the top of this curve, and we're going to do 1 curve, 2 curves, 3 curves. Whoop. A good tip is always to start a little bit smaller, because you can always make them bigger, but you're not going to be able to make them smaller quite as easily. And then you're going to want to do, I'd say the same on the other side, but if you've got enough room, do the same, but mine's just going to fall off. So what I'm going to do now is fill in all of this. I'm going to cheat as well, first of all, and give myself a little curved line like this. This is his fringe. Ah, remember those 90s curtains that the boys were rocking back in the day? Yeah, looks a little bit like that. So he's going to have 90s curtains. In the original, that fell off the top of the canvas. But because I've got a Diddy lion today, you can see his curtains. I just wanted to embrace the curtains. How many times can I say curtains before it gets weird? Curtains. I've just become aware of how West Country I've gone. Some of you may know, if you've been to our live events, I am a little bit West Country, and I have been very fortunate to be at my family home during lockdown. So the longer I'm here, the stronger the accent gets, which is fantastic, because who doesn't love a West Country accent? People take you really seriously when you've got one, trust me. That's a point, actually. I don't know who joined us last time. Annie made a really fun drinking game out of every time she says which I had never noticed. You do quite a bit, Annie, don't you? You do. I'm never going to be able to unhear it now. Oh, now I'm doing it. We're all going to be very self-conscious about our little traits. But I reckon this time, if you are drinking along, every time I sound really West Country, every time a word pops up that I just sound a little bit like a pirate or a farmer, but a pirate, have a little drink, treat yourself. Any old excuse, really. When your family wonder why you're incredibly drunk at 4:30 in the afternoon, you can blame me. Or very hyperactive if you're just drinking coffee. But there we go. Okay, so I have now filled in my main. Very exciting. What I'm going to do now, I've been going in steps. So I had my yellow. I mixed in a little bit of red to make it a slightly darker orange. And what I'm going to do now is add more red to make it an even darker orange. Now, when you're mixing paints, I always recommend doing a little bit at a time, because as you can see, it does change color quite quickly. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow back into that, because I want it to be obviously orange, but definitely darker. Drink. And all I'm going to do now, I'm going to fill in this section, but first of all, I'm going to mark out the bit that will stay white, because we won't be able to paint over that easily. So I'm going to do the eye shape, but I'm just going to do it really big. So it's going to come out of the corner here. You might be more comfortable swapping to a smaller brush. It's up to you, but I'm going to cheat and go with my big one. So I'm going to bring it all the way out to the edge. Like when you do your flicks, when you're doing your eyeliner, ladies. Men, I don't think you have an equivalent, unless you do flick your eyeliner. I know you do very well, George.
I always flick mine, don't you worry.
Your flicks are definitely better than mine as well. I'm not very good at makeup, but we are we are going to add our little flick like this. And as always, everything you do on one side, you make it as symmetrical as you can on the other. We are going to fix this a little bit later on when we add our black paint. It's going to look really weird for now, but don't worry, panic you not. Right, we can fill that in. And what you can do now, because we've got a slightly darker color of paint, if you decide that your face is a bit too small, you can always make it a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to fill in these bits around the eyes. I'm going to leave everything else white for now. change the shape a little bit. We're varying up our lion today.
Laura, whilst you're just filling in this bit, I just
Yes,
wanted
thank
to just make a little note to everyone. So obviously this is sort of a quicker version of the kind of events that we normally do because of the time restraints we have. Obviously, you know, Laura's doing well to kind of get us through all the stages, but don't forget that you can always pause the video, especially on YouTube, and it will be up for a while on YouTube too. So if you wanted to come back to it at another point, you can always go and pause the video, go and make yourself a cup of tea and come back. If you know, if you feel like we're going a little bit too fast, obviously we just want to make sure that you get all this, we get all the steps in for you to follow, but you can come back to it and you can pause it. So don't feel like you're really constrained to the time that we've given to set this up for you.
Thank you very much, my love. All right. So we have now got the absolute basis of our lion here. It's very simple, like George said. Oh, I told you, I always forget his ears every time. So I'm going to fill in his ears as well. It's very roughly. I should probably swap brush at this point, but if you've ever seen me paint before, you'll know I'm a very lazy artist. There we go. So roughly, remember, none of these lines need to be really neat or perfect because we are going to do an outline in black later on. And those black outlines cover all manner of sins. So you can keep it a little bit rough for now, and it will all come together when you add that black line. Cartoonist dream, fantastic. So what I'm going to do now, my big brush, I'm going to need to give it a really, really good rinse off in my water. Clean it as well as you can, and then dry it off on your bit of kitchen roll or napkin or toilet roll, whatever you're using. Because we're going to use that to do our blue in a moment. And you know what happens if you don't wash your yellow or orange off your brush? Oh, it's all going to go green. But who knows, you might want to go green on purpose just to avoid that. I'm not one to judge. So I'm leaving that to dry for just a second, and I'm going to pick up my medium brush. Ooh. And all I'm going to do now is add my pupils. They are going to be yellow. Now, what you want to remember when you are drawing your pupils on is that half of this shape that you've left is going to stay white. So what I might do quickly is just cheat and show you where the black line will be. It will be roughly in the middle, like so. You're going to leave a little section white at the bottom. So when you're adding in your yellow pupil, you need to remember that that bottom bit is going to be white. And then all you're going to do is a yellow circle in the middle. Now it's always better to go a little bit bigger because we are going to color this in black. So you can always go over the pupil when you're coloring it in black. So, oh, I've not left it. I just didn't listen to my own advice and I went over the white bit. I'm really good at that. So remember to leave the little white bit at the bottom and then add your big yellow pupil. It will look very weird at this stage, don't worry. Never judge your painting until it's finished. And even then, don't judge it. There's no fun in judge. Nah, no judging, just loving. Yes, okay. Have a little sip because we are now going to fill in our background. Very exciting. So hopefully your big brush is clean and dryish. And all I'm going to do now is mix myself up a nice light blue. Because in the original, I did it in a kind of light turquoisey blue. But you can feel free to do whatever color you want. I will not judge you. If you want to go polka dots on this, do some rainbow stripes. Oh, you can do a rainbow for your window. I love that. Or you can save the rainbow for the main. I don't mind. So I'm going to mix up my blue using my dark blue and a bunch of white over here. I'm going to mix that up. And then, as always, with acrylic paint, I am going to mix some water into it. Don't worry if your water is a bit orange, so is mine. I'm just going to dip the tip of the brush in the water to add some water into my paint. And all we're going to do now is fill in that whole white section over here. Ooh. If you're a bit worried about using your big brush around your painting, you might want to cut in with your little brush or your medium brush, just to give yourself a little outline to follow. You might want to leave a little white line like you did before over here because it will go green if you accidentally paint over it, but don't panic. Do not panic, we will all be fine. So all we're going to do now is fill in this whole background section. This is where it gets fun because you just get to slap paint on. You don't have to worry about the detail. You're just enjoying making a bit of mess. And I, as always, am flicking it in my hair, which I just washed, honestly. And that doesn't happen very much at the moment, I'm not going to lie.
And remember that rule that water is your best friend and it will help get things on really quickly because it will really spread that paint.
It really will. Thank you, George. Love your little reminders. Now, this is going to take a bit of time, so I think this is the time to find out a little bit about you guys. If you can, in the comments section, I'd love to know where you're painting from. I'd love to know who is the furthest away. Now, obviously, when I do the events, we're based in London. We're also in Manchester, we're in Birmingham, we're in Leeds. I'm going to forget some now and really offend some people. Oxford. What have I said and what have I not? We're in a bunch of places. Liverpool.
Yeah, let us know if you're coming from wherever you might be coming from.
Yeah, and we'd love
also,
to know
Laura,
if you've been to one of our lives as well in real life.
Yes,
as well as
please, that would be
online.
grand. Also, Laura, this might be a good time for you, whilst we're just sort of finishing up that background bit, to maybe quickly go through some of the steps that we've already been through. So if you've joined a bit later, you might be able to know what's going on in that kind of yellowy lion section.
Very good plan, Batman. Okay, so what I did to begin with is I had my big brush and I just used my yellow paint, first of all, to make this shape here, which is kind of an odd pointy butternut squash, is how I went with it. So 2 curvy bits and then a little bit of a curve, a pointy butternut squash. We all know what that looks like, right? It's not just my brain. I then mixed in a little bit of red paint into my yellow, and I mean a tiny bit, just to make this slightly orangey yellow color, just slightly orangey yellow. And what I did was I just marked out the outside of this shape, and then I started adding in my mane. Now you can just do a big yellow blob and worry about the details later, but I did 1 curve coming down here and symmetrically off the other end. I did 3 curves coming out from under his little ear, and then upside down in the other direction. All you need to do is make sure that your colors, your mane, it goes all the way off the edge of the canvas. And if it doesn't, then just make sure you fill in around it in blue. Otherwise, you're going to have a floaty lion head and some white patches. But you might want to get really fancy with it. You might want to add a jungle around your lion. If you've got extra room at the top, you could add some leaves in green or whatever color you want your leaves to be. I don't know. They've got all sorts of colors going on in the jungle and the rainforest. We shall see. So we are just filling in our background right now. If you do end up going a little bit green because your colors have mixed, do not panic, especially if you are using acrylic paint. You can always paint over the top of it later on and it will be fine. So this is, as George said earlier, very quick and rough, and you're going to be able to look at this video later on. So if you don't want to rush it and you want to make it really, really neat, you feel free to take it at your own pace. You can pause me on YouTube, I believe. I won't be offended.
Indeed.
And Instagram, these stories will be up on the live will be up on our story for the next 24 hours, or you can also go and find it on YouTube later. I don't mind at all. Okay, I'm going to give that brush a rinse off. I'm going to take a little pause to drink my wine. Ha, pause, get it? I see you laughing at me. I see you laughing.
I loved that.
So fun fact about the artist of this painting, she's hilarious. She's so funny.
Indeed.
Don't look at me like I'm lying. I see you. All right, lion. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. Right. I should have come up with some more lion puns before we started this. That would have been a good idea, wouldn't it? Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is stop trying to be funny and move on to the next part. So first of all, we're going to add some colour. Now, yours might still be a little bit wet. If you've done it quite thin, it should be okay. And if you've used pens and pencils, you might have left your stripes already. So you can fill in those stripes with whatever colors you want. I'm going to stay somewhat true to the original, but don't panic. I'm going to be using my medium brush. If you're more comfortable doing it in your small brush, you use your small brush. If you're really brave and you just want to use your big brush, go crazy. I don't mind. Remember that these lines don't need to be perfectly neat because we are going to be doing our outline in black. And like I said, that will cover all manner of things. But the first thing I'm going to do is get some red on my brush, and I'm going to give him a nose. Oh. And because I am super adorable, his nose is a heart. Oh. Yep. So just up from the bottom of our bubble here, we're going to give him a heart nose. Oh, how cute is that? So lovely. I am going to curve off the heart a little bit so it does look more like a nose and less like just a love heart. But if you want to leave it as a full-on love heart, you're adorable, go for it. Okay. Again, I'm not worrying about the edges being too neat. And there we go. He now has a nose. He's starting to look like a lion. Slightly boss-eyed at the moment, but don't worry, we will fix that. So what I'm going to do, as I've got red on my brush anyway, is I am going to add a few little stripes. Now, the first thing I did was added a little section down here. So we can add this in just next to our beard. We can do 2 curvy lines. You can do them as big or as small as you like, but just like brackets either side of his beard. There you go. And like I said, anything we do on one side, we do it symmetrically on the other. So here we go. Drink. Bracket on the other side. Beautiful. Magic. And now I'm going to do a few little triangles, a few little extra stripes in his beard. Again, all of these details are totally optional. You don't have to do the exact same colors or stripes that I'm doing. I won't be offended. I really won't. Even though the original was mine, I don't expect them all to look like carbon copies because we are artists, not photocopiers. I've gone for 3 little triangles. Again, not worrying about them being too neat because I'm going to cheat that later with my black lines if I want to add black lines to these bits. And we got symmetrically on the other side. Fabulous. How are we all doing? Did we find out where anyone's from, George? I can't read the comments because I ain't got my glasses on. Blind.
Yeah, we've got responses from lots of places. So we have people from Chiltern and Manchester. We've got Lisa in Birmingham. Where else? People coming from North Yorkshire, Lindsay, lovely. Ooh. Audrey in Jersey, grand. Yeah, loads of places.
Fabulous. I really want to know by the end how far away we've got. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mix up some pink now. Yay! As I've got red on my brush already, it's just the easiest option. So red and white to make your pink, just in case you've forgotten. It's one of those things that seems so obvious and then you're like, I haven't actually done it since primary school. Okay. And a lot of you, I'm sure, will have paints at home that, you know, you just have pink, but we like to use the primary colors and use our brains to mix the colors. Yes. So what I'm going to start doing now is adding some different stripes. And this is where it's going to be really handy to remember the sections that we did earlier, because all of the stripes are going to go in the same direction as the section that rhymed. Amazing. So first of all, I'm going to do a stripe on the edge of this section here. I'm just going to press my brush quite hard so that it makes a nice even-ish thick line, but it doesn't need to be perfect. Perfect. Seriously, stop. Right.
Love it.
And as always, we've done it on one side, so we're going to do it on the other. There we go. It's just going to fall off the end over here, and we're not too worried. Beautiful. As long as it looks symmetrical-ish, I don't mind. That looks very red on the camera. I might add a little bit more white in there. Ooh. It's quite interesting how technology makes things look so very different. All right. But again, you do not need to do the exact same colors I'm doing. You can feel free to completely ignore me. I'm going to add a pink stripe to this little triangle over here. Whoop. And now there are no right or wrong answers in this. Just remember, whatever you do on one side, keep it symmetrical on the other. So we got one over here, and we've got one in the middle somewhere over here. Yeah. Ta-da! We've then got another little section, which is our stripes up here. I'm going to go for it on this one, which means it'll roughly come somewhere over here. Something like that. And then we've also got our little 90s curtains here, where we can just add a stripe into the middle of our head over here. And we're just going to keep adding lots and lots of colours as we go. You can do as many or as few stripes as you like. You might want to go totally wild and do a full-on rainbow. I would love that. If there was a full-blown rainbow lion, it would make me very, very happy. I'm going to go for some purple now. So what I'm going to do is mix some blue into my pink. And then that'll make purple. Aha! Easy peasy. So we're up to purple now. I'm going to add some more stripes in. We're going to keep going. Is everyone getting on okay? If you can. Ooh. Feel free to pop any comments into the comment box. Even if you just want a little shout out, we are more than happy to oblige. If we've got any birthdays, I was going to say we'll sing for you, but we won't, because that would just be me singing and that would be really awkward.
It would be beautiful, really I'm sure. Laura, as you're doing this, I think it's a good idea, obviously to remind everyone that you can use as many or as little colours as you want. Yes. Again, that we're sort of in the constraints of a time period that will probably only show you like a couple of colours, but like, as the original image shows, there are so many colours in there. So please feel free to be wild, take your time with it, add loads and loads of different shades to it. But, we'll just give you an example of what these kind of colours might look like and how it gives that shape of the main. But yeah, go wild.
I love it. Wild. You're giving me life.
Yay.
I feel like it's your job to come up with the lion puns at this point, because multitasking is not my strong point.
I should have done my jokey research beforehand.
I know, didn't think it through, did we? If anyone has any lion puns and you aren't too busy adding your stripes, I would love it if you could pop them into the comments. That would make me incredibly happy. And then if George could read them to me, I would also be incredibly happy. There's got to be some out there. Oh, we've got some people joining from London. Sassy Sonia. Hey, Sassy Sonia. That's a great name. I love that. So now I'm going to mix some green. Brilliant. Yeah. Green, in case we've forgotten, yellow and blue. Ooh. I've gone for a very interesting shade of green there. It's very khaki or khaki. I got told off at an event once for saying khaki. Drink. So I got a few more stripes. Like George said, I'm going to keep it very simple. And I'll probably just do 3 colours, but you can go absolutely wild and do as many colours as you can fit on your main, because you've got all the time in the world once you pause me and I stop talking. So I'm going to add one up here, which will disappear over here. We'll add another one in here, just because I am conscious that I do tend to talk too much. You can add some little red ones in as well, just to match the ones at the bottom. One up here, one up there. I've lost the plot. What's new? All right. Uncharted territory up here. I don't normally have the top main, so that's just, I just made it up as I went along. No mistakes in art. That's the one I was trying to say. No mistakes, just happy accidents. Fabulous. So we have now got the majority of our colours on. On the original, if you've got any orange left, you can add a few little stripes in for your face over here. I just added 3 little triangle marks just to make him look stripy, just make him look a little bit more like a tiger, but Maybe that's it. It's not a lion at all. He's a liger. Let's not get into the whole Joe Exotic territory. But if you haven't watched that, where have you been during lockdown? Let me tell you, drama. Okay, we are now, or I am anyway, all coloured out. So it's down to the details. Ooh, very exciting.
Love it. Final stretch. We do have some jokes.
I've just seen
Who
that.
we got? Someone, Fliss is saying, let me pause to think. Hilarious. And also, we'll be lining up to join you in London when this is over. Brilliant.
Hey.
Love the lion puns. Thank you so much. Also, shout out to Becky and Jazz in Edinburgh from Joe. Thank you. And Toby as well saying shout out to Lisa Goldwater. Oh, lovely. So many people watching. This is grand. Love it. Sorry, Laura.
That's all right. I've just caught another one on Instagram that I think needs a readout just because it's really made me giggle. I would tell you about my dream involving a lion, a witch, and a wardrobe, but it's none of your business.
Amazing. I love it.
Ooh,
so now we're into the final stretch. This is exciting.
That's just tickled me in all the right places. So what I'm going to do now, this is where I get my little brush into play. Little teeny tiny brush. Hello. And I am going to be using nothing but black paint. Ooh. This is where it might get a little bit scary because it's quite permanent. Or if you're at home and you're using watercolors or pencils or pens, you might want to use either a biro or whenever I'm doing any kind of cartoony drawings, I love to use a Sharpie because I'm a little bit extra. Or any brand of marker pen will do. Fine nib, usually a handy one. So what I'm going to do is dip my little brush into my water, because again, if you've got a bit of water into your paint, it's going to spread a lot easier. You want your, if you're using acrylic paint, to be an ink-like consistency. That way it's going to flow a lot easier and you'll be able to get it done quite quickly. So, pick up again. First thing I'm going to do is my eye. I'm going to show you the first one and then it's nice and easy. You do exactly the same on the other side. So we have got our big white section. So as I did before, you're going to leave a little white section at the bottom and you're going to bring that black line up to your pupil. You're then going to outline your pupil. So circle around your yellow. Don't panic about a perfect circle, because if you can draw a perfect circle, you're clinically insane. I think, I don't know. That is not medically verified. I might be making that up entirely. Or is that drawing a straight line without a ruler? I don't know. We're then going to outline the rest of the eye over here. You can add your little flicks on. And we're going to fill in those two white triangles to make our eye shape. Oh, yeah. If your yellow is still a little bit wet and you do drag it in, don't panic. Don't panic. We're going to add a nice flick at the top. This is where you realise how bad I would be at makeup, because my flicks will not be in any way, shape or form identical. Yay! And then we're going to do the exact same on the other side. Easy. So she says, having not followed her own advice and left the white bit, but panic you not. I'm really good at cheating. So outlining the pupil, outlining the whole shape, and then filling it in. They might not look 100% identical, but I suppose it's like when you're doing your eyebrows. They're supposed to look like sisters, not twins. Mine currently look like distant cousins that may not even be blood related, but that's not a problem. Not a problem at all. We'll just make this one a bit thicker and hope for the best. Beautiful. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is outline the most important bits to make him look like a lion, and then we can add in any fancy details if we've got time. Genius. All right, so I'm going to outline the lovely little heart nose that we made earlier. Cute. So all the way around. Remember to take your own advice, Laura, because the more water you've got in your paint, the easier it's going to flow. So we've outlined our nose. Beautiful. We're going to give him two little pupils. That's the wrong one. Nostrils. I was really good at science in school. Believe it or not, I actually was. So I'm going to do two little curved lines on the side of my nose. As long as they're symmetrical-ish, that is all that matters. And then we're going to give him a little line down the middle, and that is the basis of our nose. So we've got heart, two little curvy nostrils, and a line. Aha. We're then going to bring that nose all the way down and around. Now, when you are outlining the bits of your lion, you don't need to do full outlines the whole way. The lines, if you look at the original here, they are all very much broken. So the line comes around and it stops here, and then it stops halfway up. So you just need to give the impression of an outline. Don't stress yourself about outlining every single section of it, because you'll be here all day. So we're going to do our curve and bring that up a little bit. We're going to bring our curve. She's really not listening to her own advice and putting water in the paint. Useless.
Rule number one.
I know, I keep putting water in it and then using a different section of the blob. I'm a genius. So we've outlined this. I'm going to bring the eye down a little way, and then I'm going to flick up the bottom of the white section. So I've brought this line down, and then I'm going to flick a little way up the white. Lovely stuff. All right. I'm then going to outline. I'm going to bring this one up a little bit further, just so that it comes up into that dark orange section. Because this is the point of the black bit, is to differentiate the different shapes. So that is very important. And then we're going to do the outside of the orange. Again, I'm not going to worry about keeping those lines joined together. As long as they're symmetrical, whatever you do on one side, you do it on the other. It will be absolutely fine. And again, water. Keep mixing that water in. At this point, if you're using a pen, you're probably having a much easier time of life than I am right now, forgetting where I put the water in my paint. So we're outlining, and we're going to bring this down a little bit. We're going to give him a little hairline. Cute. Remember, you can pause this. You don't have to rush along with me. Won't be offended. I'm going to add a little curved line here, and a little curved line here. I'm a very messy artist. Love it. Shoo, we are then going to outline his ears, because we definitely need some ears. Drink. I feel like now would be a great time for another lion pun. Oh, hello. Hi, Gareth. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're loving the painting. I'm going to give him some curtains. Drink. I am standing on my tippy toes at this point. Which is when the black lines get wobblier and wobblier, or more and more wobbly. My mum's probably sat in the kitchen cursing my grammar at this point. Sorry, Mum. Okay. Then what we want to do is outline the individual sections that we did earlier. So all we've got to do is remember where they were. So first of all, we've got this big section here. If your black lines go outside of the line, so to speak, don't worry, make it a stylized choice and do it everywhere else. That is my plan. Like I said, no accidents, no mistakes, just happy accidents. That's the one. And keep it symmetrical. We've got this section here going just under our ear. Drink. And on this side. I feel really weird not having music. But as we would get taken down off of YouTube if I was playing any, I have just my own voice for company. And as you can probably tell, I don't like silence. Is anyone listening to our pop-up painting playlists? That would be incredibly exciting to hear. Or if not, what have you chosen to theme your pop-up painting event today? All right, we are just going to whack the last few lines on. So feel free to let me know. We're going to outline the beard, beard. Beautiful. I would love to hear what you've got going on. So we've pretty much outlined all of the important sections at this point. You can always add more little details in if you want to outline each of these sections, but that's something you can do later on in your own time. We do need a few important details to make sure he is finished. And that is, first of all, pupils, otherwise he's going to look very odd. So I'm just going to do a black dot in the middle of my yellow circle. One went completely different to the other one. You might want to make him look really cat-eyed. Oh, creepy. I'm going to give him a few little dots for where his whiskers would be. Quite simply, 3 dots at a time. If you really want to add whiskers, I won't be offended either. I'm going to give him 3 little blobs on his beard. There wasn't really any reason for that. I just thought it looked cool. All right. And you can give him some little eyebrow marks here too, some little blobs, which you can bring down, little lines. Now you can add in as many or as few details as you like. You can do stripes all over the place just to make him look all furry. You can add all sorts of blobs in like this. But again, pop onto the website. You can have a look at the original and you can see what details I added in the first place. And you might decide you love it so much you want to give it another go later in a different medium. I don't mind. Make sure that you do sign your painting, because that is what makes it worth all of the money. Oh yeah. I'm going to put my little signature down here.
This is looking great, Annie. I'm a bit conscious that we might be kicked out of Instagram. Sorry. Laura, no! Laura, I'm a little bit conscious that we might be kicked out of Instagram. So I've just asked to be joined back in, but if anyone can hear me on Instagram whilst that's happening, just as a quick reminder that we do have some more events coming up. We have, I'm about to come live. We do have more events coming up. We have, the next one is coming up on Tuesday, and that's going to be, let me have a quick look. That is going to be a Picasso event, so that's something we haven't done yet, so that's quite exciting. And also we are starting to invite people to come and have corporate events with us too. So if you do have if you're part of a company and you really would like to get a whole group of colleagues involved, you can also inquire with us about that too. So there's lots of things that we can start doing, even though we are in tricky times. Lots of stuff that we can still do to enable you to be creative and painty. I think that's all I need to say, actually, Annie. Laura, again!
Don't call me Annie again. I mean,
because I've only done this once, and I've only done it with Annie, so I keep forgetting.
Annie on the brain.
Sorry, Annie. I don't think you look
the
same.
We do love Annie. I won't be offended by that.
Brilliant.
Don't forget, if you are on Instagram, if you share to your story, don't forget to tag us at PopUp Painting. Or if you put it on your main page, please. You can tag us as well. We will share it. We love to share it. We love your work. It's great to see how many come in after all of these events. But yeah, definitely join us on Tuesday. I will be there. Fabulous. We will see you on Tuesday.
We will
definitely show us how your events have gone. And thank you so much for joining us.
Please. Oh, thank you, Laura, so much. That was lovely. Again, I know that was quite a quick way going through. Please do pause. Please do watch back on YouTube if you need to see anything else. But it looks great. I think it looks lovely with just those 3 colors. But yeah, feel free to add in more bits if you want to. Also sign it once you go to sell that on eBay tomorrow. Of course, you will all be doing that. We would love, I'd love it to be a little bit more expensive. Remember that it goes up like thousands of times the amount if you put your signature on there. So make sure you do that too. Thank you so much.
10-second countdown on Instagram.
Oh, thank you so much, Laura. That was lovely. Please share at us at PopUp Painting and hashtag PopUp Live as well. And we'll see you on Tuesday for the next event.
See you on Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.